Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the vlog. Today is Thursday. Yeah, today's Thursday. I need to get myself sorted for the day because I have some things that I need to do. I really need to wash it today, but I am not going to wash it just yet this morning. For now, I thought I'll just do a nice little slick back. And honestly, even though my hair is dirty, I am just so shocked at how thick and healthy my hair is. It's come so far in the last probably 3 years, maybe even 2 years. After years of bleaching and not properly taking care of my hair, I thought I'd never see the day where I had very long, thick, full hair again. But here we are. So I'm gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I'm gonna do a hair mask simultaneously while my hair is in a slick back. I mean, anyways, I need to put product into it to make it nice and malleable. So I might as well, because anyways, I am washing it later today. I definitely don't do this every single time that I'm doing a slick back, but if it's for sure like a hair wash day, I definitely do it. So I like to section off 2 pieces at the front that I'll add into the slick back at the end. So once those are separated, I'm using this little brush. I'm gonna just smooth it all out. This is what we're left with. So I'm gonna take the remaining hair, smooth it out, and then attach it to that ponytail. And then I'm gonna do the same exact thing with the other side. That is like the only way I found that I can still keep this center part and have it nice and slick back. So it's the easiest way. And then I have this little hair wax that I'm gonna use just to finish it off, just a little bit. Use this a little, smooth it out a little bit. Hair looks really good. Now let's quickly do the face. All right, that is much better. And I also braided the ponytail. I thought that was just a cute little thing to do for today. I cannot start my day without making my bed. This is like 100% a must do every single morning. Of course, I let it air out when I first wake up, but after that, there's no excuses. Well, that looks a lot better, and honest to God, that took me 30 seconds. And while we're on the topic of hair care and bedding, I want to take a moment to thank Kitch for sponsoring today's video. I'm an absolute sucker for anything Kitch. I have so many of their products, and I love every single one. I use everything pretty much every day. But the star of the show today is their satin pillowcase. This is mine. I absolutely love it. First of all, I think it's gorgeous. Definitely elevates your bed setting. But I 100% attribute my hair health to Kitch and this pillowcase in specific. I bring this pillowcase everywhere. I'm not even exaggerating. Of course, I bring it with me when I go on a contract for months on end, but I will also go to the point of packing it in an overnight bag if I spend the night at a friend's house or if I go on a little weekend getaway. Like, this goes with me everywhere. There are so many benefits to sleeping on a satin pillowcase. It's so good for not only your hair, but your face as well, your eyelashes, and even eyebrows. The satin keeps your hair frizz-free and prevents breakage. Nobody wants frizzy hair when you're waking up first thing in the morning. And honestly, the difference between a normal pillowcase and this is night and day. It also absorbs a lot less moisture from your face, so it does help reduce breakouts. Honorable mention for the fact that it does stay cool all night. There's nothing worse than having to flip your pillow because it's too warm, but I never have to do that with this pillowcase. And overall, it's just extremely gentle on your skin and hair, which is exactly what we want. Not that I did my hair last night, but typically when I fall asleep with curls in my hair, I wake up and my hair is still intact because of this pillowcase. So all in all, it keeps your hairstyle longer, which does result in way less time getting ready in the morning. Kitch has sold over 7 million pillowcases and has over 10,000 5-star reviews online. I think this print is super cute, but if it's not really your vibe, there are other color options, so you can check those out. And they do also offer a standard size and a king size pillowcase. So make sure to head to my link and use my personal code JordanB to get 25% off site-wide. Using my code, this pillowcase is less than $15, which you cannot go wrong with. This will automatically apply at checkout using my link. They also ship both within the US and internationally to 27 countries. A huge thank you once again to Kitch. I completely forgot to show you my breakfast, but we just had scrambled eggs and a piece of toast very standard breakfast for me when I'm home. Once I'm actually like here for more than a couple days at a time, I'm actually gonna venture off and do some cooking, some baking, some experimentation in the kitchen. But for now, we're just doing what is tried and true. I have a lot of work to do this morning, so right now I'm just catching up on some emails, and then I need to get to editing, and I have my list right here of everything I need to get done today. It's time to get dressed. I need to pick out something to wear for the day. I want to be comfortable, but also kind of cute. All right, here is the outfit of the day. I've got some brown pleather pants on with this chunky knit sweater. I've been doing a little bit of work on the computer, answering some emails, things of that sort, but I thought it'd be fun to answer some questions. In my previous vlog, I did a mini Q&A. I only answered a couple questions, so I thought it would be fun to answer a lot more questions as I go on my day today. We're gonna start with a travel question. I feel like that's fun. So first question is a really good one. What's your top 3 travel items / accessories to have? This is a tough question because I do have a lot, but the 3 that first came to mind is packing cubes, air tags or some sort of trackers to follow your suitcases when you check your luggage. And then the third thing, I can't think of the exact name of it, but I will have it linked for you. Basically, you plug it into the audio output on an airplane, and you can connect your AirPods to the TV instead of using the really crappy headphones that they provide. Sometimes you even have to pay for those, and they're not even good. So if you have AirPods, not everyone does. If you have any sort of like Bluetooth headphones, you can connect it to your TV screen on the plane, which is so cool, and I've used it so much, and the charge actually lasts a really long time. It's called an AirFly. I have it right here. So this is how small it is. Really, really good investment to have if you travel on a plane frequently, or even not that frequently. I definitely think it's worth it. Next question, where to next? So the next trip I have planned is a cruise with Virgin Voyages. I'm actually leaving very, very soon, so the next video you see is going to be a pack with me. I'm going to show you all the things I'm packing. I'm so excited. I'm bringing my mom on a 10-day cruise to the Caribbean. There are a few repeat ports for me, places that I've been when I was working on a contract, but there's also quite a few new ports that I'm very excited about. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, and it's a 10-day cruise. So I'm definitely gonna enjoy the vitamin D, read a lot of books, and just truly soak in the vacation. Would you ever consider coming to Copenhagen, Denmark to do some coaching at our club? Abso-freaking-lutely. I would absolutely love that. I love Copenhagen and I would love to go back, but to get to go and coach, sign me up. Do you ever get tired of performing the same show for so long? Do y'all ever mix it up for fun? Honestly, no. It depends on the show. Some shows are more enjoyable than others. I love to perform, period. So no matter what show I do, I always really enjoy performing. That being said, there are shows I much prefer over others, and others that I found myself getting like, okay, it's a bit repetitive. Certain songs you need a break for a while listening to because you've just heard it so many times and you're just a bit over it. That being said, we can't really switch up the show at all, but we do find fun ways to keep it fresh, and that definitely helps keep it exciting. And at the end of the day, every show is a tiny bit different, so you just never know what to expect. Does the new cast perform the same show on Utopia? If so, how does the handover process work? So we were cast 1, so we built the show from the ground up. It is our baby, it's our show, and I feel so grateful and lucky to have been part of that creation process. And that is going to be the show on Utopia of the Seas indefinitely until they decide to change it, but obviously it's brand new, so they won't be changing it anytime soon. So cast 2 will perform our show, cast 3, and so on and so forth. The show itself should remain exactly the same. There might be a few changes here and there, but for the most part, the show is going to be the same to the bones. For the handover process, the cast comes on board before we sign off. There's an installer on board, and they will teach them the show so that when we sign off, they will take over straight away. Do you think the Bills will make it to the Super Bowl? I hope so, and I am a Jets fan. I don't know. I'm trying to just not get too excited because I don't want to get my hopes up. That seems to happen every year, and it's very difficult being a Bills fan. If you know, you know. So I am definitely optimistic, but I'm trying to not get too excited or too ahead of myself. We're just gonna see how it goes and go from there. You ever thought about organizing a group cruise? Honestly, no. As you guys know, I am hosting my first group trip to Europe in April, which I'm super excited about, and that's something that I've always wanted to do, so I'm like over the moon excited for that. It's gonna be the best time. By the way, there's still spots available if you're interested. If you've been thinking about it, take this as your sign. But hosting a group cruise is not necessarily something that I'm overly interested in. I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun, but I have spent so much time living on a cruise. It's not something that I've really thought about, to be honest. I would much rather prefer to travel to a destination than do like a group cruise. Of course, never say never, but as of right now, I have no plans or intentions of doing that. What accomplishment are you most proud of from 2024? This is a really good question. And it's hard to say because I actually have a lot of accomplishments that I'm really proud of this year. I feel like 2024 was a really big year for me. Of course, hitting 100,000 subscribers was a huge accomplishment for me. So either that or completing my first takeout experience on Utopia, being cast 1. And not just being cast 1, but finishing till the very end, despite how much pain my body was in day and day out for months. So those are probably my top 2 accomplishments for the year. What's the most homesick you've ever felt? This is a good question. I've said before, but I usually don't ever get homesick. I'm away from home for many, many months at a time. I honestly don't consider myself to live here. Like, I live other places or on the ship more months out of the year than I am in this house. That being said, there have been moments where I was homesick, but I think the most homesick I've ever felt was when my grandma passed away. I was on the ship, and when you're in that environment, it kind of feels like a different universe entirely. Like, you feel like you're on another planet. I don't know how to describe it. It was such a surreal feeling. I just wanted to be with my family, but while that was all happening, I was still working. Like, I had to perform in a show that night after finding out. So, yeah, that was extremely difficult. Anytime there's anything family related going on like that, it's really hard to be away from home. So that's probably the most homesick I've ever felt. Luckily, I was able to come home for my grandma's services and spend the time with my family. So that was really, really good for me. But yeah, it was tough. I answered this in my previous video, but I got a lot of questions regarding airport lounge access. So I thought I would just go over it again. So I get lounge access through my credit card. I have the Capital One Venture X credit card. I want to say the annual fee is $395, if I'm not mistaken, but you do get a $300 credit towards travel every single year. And because I travel so often, I definitely make use of that travel credit. You can deduct the $300 from any sort of flight you're booking or even a hotel, which I think is a really good deal. You also get, of course, the lounge access, which is like over 1,200 lounges around the world. It doesn't include every single lounge, but most airports have at least 1 or 2 lounges that you can visit with your priority pass. And you also get a credit to register for TSA PreCheck, which is how I got my TSA PreCheck. So I got global entry and TSA Pre for $100 I applied, and then I get $100 credit back on my credit card. So I actually didn't have to pay for it at all. For me, it's a really good deal with how much I travel. I definitely recommend it. I'll have a link below if you're more interested in looking into it. We're gonna take a pause on the questions and come back to them in a little while, but I need to run some errands. So we're gonna do that before the day slips away because I have to drop off a couple things and I just want to get it all squared away. I'm at USPS to drop off my Poshmark orders, but the location that I always go to is closed right now, even though they're meant to be open Monday through Saturday, like 8 to 3 or 9 to 3. It's Thursday. And it's not even 1 o'clock, so I'm a bit confused. I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna have to go to a different location, but that's fine. We'll just zip around. You know what I don't understand? This is a random thought, but a car just pulled up next to me. Why do people that are not celebrities, they're not famous athletes, they're not, you know, any sort of public figure and they have completely tinted out windows on their car. I don't understand it. If someone does understand it, I would love to know why you would get those. Like, I get it, it's for privacy, but at the same time, what privacy do you need driving around town? You know what I mean? I don't know. I never understood it. I never did. And it always kind of freaked me out, to be honest. But anyways. Listen up, y'all, cause this is it. Burgerlicious definition, make them boys go loco. I was very confused why post office was closed today, but they have designated today as the day of remembrance / mourning for Jimmy Carter. So they're closed today. But while I was there about to drop off my packages, a few more items on my Poshmark sold. So I'm gonna wrap those up, prepare those. Those packages are good to go, so let's jump back into some questions, shall we? Let's start off with a few skating related questions, shall we? So first, how do handstands help in a warm-up? I personally really enjoy them just because they're fun. I always want to improve my form, so that's a good time to work on it because it also uses my entire body. So it's a really good way to warm up all of my muscles, especially my upper body and my core. I have to engage my core, so that's why I like to do them. I mean, they're fun and I actually get a good sweat in if I work on them for like 10 minutes. What is the hardest trick you have done? I guess it just sort of depends on what type of trick you're referring to. If it has to do with jumps, the hardest jump I ever did was a triple combination and a triple Lutz. So I never did triple axel. That was something I really wanted to do, but back when I was competing, women were not really doing them ever, and they're still not really doing them, but obviously skating evolves as the years go on. How long do you see yourself doing professional skating? It looks very taxing on the body. To be honest, I don't have an answer for that. I would love to continue for as long as my body lets me, but that can mean a lot of different things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I will be working on cruise ships until I retire. I might do some land contracts, try different things. There's so many opportunities out there, so I don't want to limit myself to just one specific performing job, but it is very, very taxing on my body, and that's why I've also had some interest in trying out pairs, because pairs is a lot less aggressive on your body as a girl. So I won't have that compound impact over and over and over and over from jumping. Of course, that's also a lot on your body, but in different ways. But we shall see, time will tell. Do you do the same warm-up every single time? I do. I mean, every once in a while it's switched a little bit, but for the most part, my warm-up routine is down to a T. Like, I do the same thing when I warm up on the floor, and then when I get on the ice, I have a system that works for me. Did you always know you wanted to be a professional skater? Did you study for a different career path? I always knew that I wanted to perform professionally. That was something I knew from a very young age. Of course, I loved competing and I was very competitive and I wanted to be the best I could, but you know, winning the Olympics was not really like my end goal. My end goal was getting to travel and perform and get paid to skate. So yeah, it's something that I just kind of always knew I wanted to do. But I did go to university. I have my bachelor's degree in fashion and textile technology with a concentration in merchandising. So I did get my degree before starting my professional skating career. It was really important for me to have my degree before I started performing. Are there skating coaches on board to help? No. Yeah, we're professionals, so we don't have coaches on board. How did you get into skating? So I think I've already answered this a while back, but there are a lot of new faces on here. So if you are newer, my mom was actually a figure skater. She was in Disney on Ice for 2 years when she was younger. So she was a figure skater herself and then became a coach, and she was my skating coach. So that is how I got into it. And I was always around skating. She didn't put me on the ice straight away, but I was always at the rink while she was coaching. So it was always just part of my life. And then I really wanted to try it out. My parents let me, and the rest was history. What tips would you give first-time skaters? This is a good one. So the number one problem that brand new skaters have when getting on the ice is they lock their knees or legs completely, it's really important to have a little bit of knee bend, and you want to make sure that you are keeping your balance at the ball of your foot. You don't want it to go too far back or too far forward, because that is when you will fall. But if you stay over the ball of your foot, that is where you'll have the most balance, and bending your knees is your best friend. Let's move on to a couple of questions about travel. What is one place you would love to travel to but haven't been yet? Japan. I haven't been to any of Asia, so I guess really Asia is my answer, but specifically Japan. I really, 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 really want to visit Japan. What is your favorite carry-on bag to travel with? I absolutely love my backpack. I bring it with me on every trip. It's from Amazon, but I'm telling you, it fits so much inside. It has so many little compartments, zippers, and I really can't believe just how much it fits. So that would probably be my favorite carry-on bag. Technically, I use that as my personal item, but you can get away with it being your carry-on because it does fit a lot. I will have it linked. I love it so much. Like, could not recommend another bag more. Would you ever visit Asia/Australia? 1000%. Longest plane ride. I would say my longest travel day was when we flew from California to France to join Utopia. That was the longest travel day for sure. Longest flight has to be any of the flights I took from the US over to Europe. I think the longest flight I've been on is like 7 hours. So it's not that long. Have you visited Latin American countries? No, but I really, really want to. What's your favorite way to travel? By car, train, boat, or plane? That's a really good question. I would have to say, oh God, it's a tough one. I feel like I haven't taken enough train rides to give that a fair chance. I would love to do a sleeper train at some point. I do really enjoy flying, and of course, being on a ship is probably the most comfortable. I'm gonna say flying. We're gonna leave the questions there for now. I wanna go make some lunch because it's 2 o'clock and I'm very hungry.
That person's house was.
Oh, this flavor is delicious. The raspberry rosé. These are the Aldi version of poppies. They taste so good. I'm actually very impressed with the flavor. I like this one better than the cherry lime. I tried that a couple days ago. It was good, but I like this one better. Anyways, if you want to buy them, I felt like it was time for a little afternoon pick-me-up. And I kind of wanted another coffee, but I don't really need the caffeine, so I thought a little prebiotic pop wouldn't hurt. Anyways, let's get back into some more questions. Need to reapply the lip gloss, obviously. All right, now we can go back into the questions. We left off on some travel questions, so we'll go back to that. Did you get your travel visas yet for European countries that require it? Not yet, but I am definitely looking into it. It's just kind of weird because they were talking about this last year and the year before, I want to say, and then it got pushed back. So I guess 2025 is the year. What is your favorite place you've ever traveled to? That's a really loaded question because I've been to so many beautiful places and so many places that have the potential to become one of my favorites, but I feel like I didn't spend enough time there to really say that. And also it's just hard for me to pick one favorite. The one I always go back to every single time is Italy because just everything about Italy I love. The culture, the food, the people, it's just so beautiful and it kind of feels like home a little bit. So that is, I guess, my easiest answer. How do you find cheap flights? So first thing I do is search in a private browser. This makes a huge difference. Also, if you have like a VPN, this can really help you when you're searching to fly to a specific place. The further away from the time you're meant to travel, the prices should be lower, but if you give yourself enough time in advance, you can keep looking back at what the prices of flights are because they definitely fluctuate. Of course, looking at like booking.com, Expedia, like any of those sort of websites, those will also maybe help you find cheaper flights, but it's feel like it's just a lot of trial and error checking, and I don't know, I feel like other people have a better answer for this, but that's what I do. I'd like to start working out. What are good beginner routines? That's super exciting. I would say first thing is to prioritize daily walks. Walking is so good for you. So I'd say first and foremost, just focus on getting like a 30-minute walk in every day. As far as workouts, I love watching workouts on YouTube. Of course, you have to be a little careful with this because anyone can post a video. Just because they say that it did XYZ doesn't necessarily mean that. But I really like it to follow along as sort of a guide. I love Pilates. Pilates is a really good way to start moving your body gently, but also building strength. And of course, you can always just start off with the basics. All like body weight exercises, push-ups, squats without weight, lunges, planks. Like there's so many body weight activities you could do to just help strengthen your muscles before even adding weight. I had no idea you went to uni until a recent video. Can you tell us more? So yes, I did go to university. I graduated in 2019 with a bachelor's degree in fashion and textile technology. I graduated summa cum laude and I was part of the honors program. So I'm pretty proud of my achievements from college. I worked really hard. I really enjoyed school, and it was super important to me to keep the highest GPA I could. I also was involved in a sorority, so I was in AE Phi, and I was part of the executive board for many years. I was VP membership, so I was in charge of recruiting. I did that for a year, 2 years, I don't know. And then I was also VP social for 1 semester. So it was really fun. I really, really enjoyed it, and I made lifelong friends within my sisterhood, and what else about college? I did commute. I lived at home while going to school and also training full-time, competing. So I had a lot on my plate, but it was a really fun 4 years. I am starting a travel and lifestyle Instagram. Do you have any tips or suggestions for me? My number one tip is to just create. Don't try to make everything perfect. When you're just starting out, the most important thing is consistency. So even if it's not like exactly what you want it to be, I would still just post it and move on to the next project. With time, you will get better and you'll get more comfortable with it and you'll find what you like and don't like. But I would say consistency, like with anything in life, is the most important thing. So just create. So stick with it and try to create a schedule for yourself that you know you can keep up with. Similarly, create stuff that you yourself are passionate about. It's always very obvious if someone is creating something that they don't particularly enjoy. They're just doing it to do it because it's trendy or popular or whatever. Really focus on what makes you happy and create according to that. And then the third thing I would say is comparison is the thief of joy. So try not to compare your success, your growth with other people that you're watching online, because everyone's growth is at a different speed. Have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously, and good luck. That's super exciting. Are you still planning to launch your own brand? I would absolutely love to, but that is right now not my priority with my future. It's definitely something that I still want to do, but I have a lot going on right now and I'm just trying to navigate one thing at a time, and I also want to see how that fits into my lifestyle. I'll have a better idea of what I'm going to be doing in the future once I'm actually permanently settled somewhere. I also never imagined my social media to become a full-time job the way that it has, and I'm so grateful for that. So my goals are, you know, kind of changing and adjusting with the flow of that, but it's definitely something that I still have interest in doing. I'm gonna take another break on questions. I'm gonna get some editing done, and then I will check back in for the last few bits of questions.
What?
Hello! Hello, pretty girl. Hi. Oh, thank you. You look so pretty.
So cute, right?
Yeah. About 7 o'clock. We got Rachel's for dinner. Mom and I have a very early start to the day tomorrow, so takeout it is. This looks marvelous. Yum, 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 yum. Dinner was so good. So I got a bowl. It was half rice, half lettuce. I got chicken, cucumbers, banana peppers, olives, and then a little bit of oil for dressing, and then a side of tzatziki. And it was so good. I am definitely nice and full now. The best part is I didn't have to cook or clean anything up, which typically I don't mind that much, especially because it's a privilege for me to have that option, because obviously when I'm on a contract, I don't have that. However, we have a really early start tomorrow morning, so I just didn't want to deal with that. But we have a few more questions that I want to get to. So before I get into the shower, I thought we could answer some ship life related questions. First question, how to get the most out of your cruise? What to do first or book ahead? I would say book your shows as soon as you get on the ship if you did not already book them prior to that. Also, when you get on the ship, I would take an entire lap around the ship. Get your bearings, see where everything is so you can make a mental note of where you want to visit, where you want to eat, like things that you might want to go back to throughout the cruise. Ships are just so big, there's so much to do, and you want to make sure that you are seeing everything that you can throughout the duration of your cruise. Walking around the entire ship also helps you learn the layout of each deck, so it's easier throughout the cruise. Who is part of the parades? Most of the parades include all of the cruise divisions. So that means all of the ice cast, all of the theater cast, all of the aqua cast, sports staff, cruise staff, youth staff, and maybe some stage staff helping with props. However, on Utopia, that was a brand new parade and that only involved all the performers. So aqua cast, ice cast, and theater cast were involved in that parade. Would you ever want to be ice captain? This is a question I have answered in the past, but I'm just gonna circle back to it. It's not something I necessarily would go out of my way to request or to try and get. However, if I was presented with it, I would be up for the challenge. The reason I'm not trying to go out of my way for it is because it is a lot of work and I already have my plate full, like overflowing with social media and then of course my job on board. So as of right now, it's not something I necessarily really want like other people, but I do think it would be a really good experience and a great way to grow as an individual and as a leader. How do you get paid? Is it bi-weekly, monthly, or at the start of the contract? We get paid bi-weekly, so every other week we get a paycheck. What do the other performers do in their spare time if they're not influencers or editing? I know a lot of them enjoy sleeping, so chances are they're probably sleeping in. They're gonna be at the gym, maybe reading, walking on the track, or socializing with friends. How often can you talk with family? I can talk with family every day if I wish. I have free messages on WhatsApp so I can text anyone. However, I cannot voice call or video call. I'd have to purchase internet minutes for that. So at least we have the option to text people from home because 3 years ago, that was not an option. It was literally, you had to log into internet minutes that you bought in order to send a text to home. Does each cast have the same length contract? Depending on your ship and what your contract is, it can vary. So the average length of a contract is anywhere from 6 to 8 months. But again, there are contracts that are 9, 10 months. There's also contracts that are 4 or 5 months. So it just kind of depends. However, Ice Cast seems to have a shorter contract than the production cast because they do 2 months of rehearsals in Miami and then usually 8 months on board. So in total, it's a 10-month contract. My friends on Utopia right now in cast 1 of the theater, they have a year-long contract. So they did 2 months in Miami and a 10-month contract on board. Okay, I had a couple questions about how health insurance works. So when I am on a contract, I am insured. So hypothetically, if I was to get injured on board or really sick and they had to send me to a hospital on land to get checked out, they would cover all of those costs. What is the best thing about working on a ship and what's the worst? This is a good question. I think the best thing is the travel and the relationships that you build. Spending that much time with the same people, you get really close to them, and the bonds that you make on board are unlike anything else. Like, those are friendships that you make for a lifetime. Obviously, not every single person is going to be your best friend, but the close friends that I've made on the ship, I could not imagine my life without them, and I'm so grateful that I got to meet them on the ship. And then it does suck because you sign off and you don't live in the same place, so you don't see them every day, but yeah, the friendships that you make on board are extremely special. On the contrary, the worst part about working on the ship, I think the worst part about working on the ship is not getting to come home when you want. You're only allowed to come home in the middle of a contract in extreme circumstances, and you need all this permission, so it's a pretty big process. You can't just like go home for the day or two, and holidays don't really feel the same on board because you're still working. So yeah, that can be a bit challenging, but you definitely get used to it. The final question of this Q&A is a question I have been asked probably 100+ times, and that is, what are my next plans? Am I doing another contract? Am I done with ship life? What am I doing? All I can say right now is that I'm not going to share everything, but what I can tell you is that I will be returning to another contract. I am not yet done with ship life. I do have a contract signed. It's been signed for a couple months now, and I am planning to go back on board. In the future, I will expand on this more. I'm gonna have a whole announcement video about where I'm going next and all the details regarding that. But for now, all I can say is that yes, I am going back on board to work, but not just yet. Now that that's all said and done, I need to get in the shower. I need to wash this hair and get into my pajamas for a very early night. I am ready for bed and I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna end the vlog here. Thank you guys for coming along with me on my day. Love you all to the moon and back, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.